Welcome to the Technical Writing Success Podcast. This is episode 138. I'm Daphne,
And I'm Fred.
and today we're digging into a tool that, well, it really defines the high end of the technical documentation market.
Yeah, it's a big one. We're looking at MadCap Flare, based on a recent review by our producer, Robbins.
Yeah,
He's a senior technical writer himself, so he knows this landscape well.
exactly. The article is Tool Review, MadCap Flare, and it came out September 29th, 2025. Our goal here is pretty straightforward. Give you a clear, unbiased look at Flare. Whether you're a tech writer, a doc specialist, or maybe even an IT supporting these kinds of tools, we want you to understand its strengths and its weaknesses.
Right. So first off, what is MadCap Flare? It's important to understand it's not just, a word processor or something simple like that. It's a full-blown help authoring tool H8. It's designed specifically for creating, managing, and publishing complex documentation, often across multiple channels. Think big user manuals, online help systems, knowledge bases, that sort of thing.
And its core philosophy, the thing everyone talks about, is single sourcing.
Exactly. Single sourcing through what they call topic-based authoring.
So you write a piece of information, a topic, just once.
Correct. It's usually an XML file behind the scenes. You write that topic, say, a specific procedure or a definition one time. Then Flare lets you reuse that exact piece of content everywhere you need it.
So if you need that procedure in the online help and the PDF manual and maybe a quick reference guide,
You just pull in that same topic file. You don't copy and paste. You link to the single source.
which sounds incredibly efficient, especially for updates.
Oh, it's huge for updates. Imagine you have, I don't know, 50 documents, maybe different versions for different user roles or product tiers, and you find a mistake in a critical safety warning.
Oh, wow. Yeah, finding and fixing that everywhere manually would be a nightmare.
A nightmare and risky. With Flare's single sourcing, you fix it in that one topic file, you hit save, and boom, it's corrected automatically in every single output generated from that project. Online help, PDFs, everything.
Okay, I can see how that saves massive amounts of time and reduces errors, too.
Absolutely. In large organizations, especially regulated industries, that consistency isn't just nice to have, it's often mandatory. The time savings alone can justify the cost, which we'll get to.
Right, so single sourcing is the foundation. But the article also highlights features like conditional text, variables, snippets. That sounds like where the real power comes in.
That's where you get really granular control. Think of snippets first. They're simple, reusable chunks, like maybe your company's address or a standard copyright notice. You create it once as a snippet, use it in 50 places, need to update the copyright year, update the snippet, and it changes everywhere. Easy.
Okay, that's straightforward. What about conditional text?
Conditional text is much more sophisticated. It lets you mark specific words, sentences, even whole paragraphs to only appear in certain outputs.
So you could write one procedure, but maybe have certain steps only show up for administrators, not regular users.
Precisely. You tag those steps with an admin-only condition. When you publish the regular user guide, those steps just disappear. But they are there when you publish the admin guide.
All from the same source file.
All from the same source file. You could do this for different product versions, platforms, user permissions. You're basically engineering your content, not just writing it, tailoring it without duplicating anything.
That sounds incredibly powerful. And it all happens within Flare's environment.
Yeah, it's an integrated system. You got the editor, which is XML-based, but importantly has a YSI YG view. What you see is what you get, so you don't have to stare at code all day.
Pizza relief for many, I'm sure.
Definitely. Plus, it has project management features built in and a really robust publishing engine to generate all those different output formats, HTML5 help, PDF, Word, etc.
And the article mentions integration with other MadCap tools, Central and Lingo.
Right. That's key for larger teams and enterprises. MadCap Central is their cloud platform for collaboration, project management, analytics, seeing how people actually use your documentation. And MadCap Lingo is all about managing translation. If you need your docs in 5, 10, 20 languages, Lingo integrates tightly with Flare to streamline that whole, often very complex workflow.
So it's really an ecosystem, especially for big operations.
Exactly. It scales up.
Okay, that all sounds impressive. Powerful, efficient, integrated. But there's always a but, isn't there? The review points out some significant hurdles. Let's talk about the downsides.
Yeah, the flip side. And the first one, the one everyone bumps into immediately, is cost.
It's expensive.
It is. Flare is professional enterprise-grade software, and it has a price tag to match. It's a subscription license per user, and it's a considerable investment just for the main Flare application.
And like you said, to get the full benefit, especially in a team environment, you might need Central for collaboration or Lingo for translation.
Which adds substantially to the overall cost. For an individual consultant, or maybe a small startup just doing a couple of simple guides, that price can be a major barrier, a complete non-starter sometimes.
You really have to be sure the efficiency gains will outweigh that ongoing subscription cost.
Definitely. You need to do that ROI calculation.
Beyond the money, there's the time investment. The article calls out a steep learning curve.
Oh, absolutely. The interface is graphical, yes.
Yeah.
But mastering Flare, really mastering it, setting up efficient single sourcing, designing templates, configuring all the publishing targets, using conditions effectively, that takes serious time and effort.
It's not something you just pick up in an afternoon.
Not at all. You're learning a complex system. Think about designing the underlying structure, the CSS for styling, the skins for online help appearance. Getting a table of contents to generate exactly how you want across different outputs can sometimes take days of fiddling when you're starting out. It requires dedication.
Okay, so significant cost, significant learning curve. What else? The review mentions platform constraints.
Right. This is the big practical one. Flare is Windows only.
Still, in 2025.
Still. So if your team or your whole company primarily uses Mac OS or Linux, you're looking at running it through virtualization software like Parallels or on a dedicated Windows machine.
Which adds another layer of cost, complexity, and potential frustration.
It's just friction.
And that leads to the bigger strategic question the article raises: vendor lock-in.
Yeah. This is crucial. Under the hood, Flare uses open standards like XML, XHTML, CSS. Portable.
Sounds like it.
But
Yeah.
the way Flare manages the project, the single sourcing logic, the conditions, the variables, the links between topics, the publishing targets, a lot of that intelligence is stored in proprietary Flare project files.
Ah, okay. So getting the raw text out might be easy, but getting the structure and the logic out.
That's the challenge. If you invest heavily in Flare, build your whole documentation ecosystem around it, and then 5 years down the line, you want to switch to a different tool, maybe a Doxys code system or something else.
Migrating out could be a massive project in itself.
It often is. You're not just exporting content. You'd have to essentially rebuild all that complex conditional logic, linking, and output structure in the new system. It can be incredibly resource intensive, potentially more so than the initial implementation. You're kind of locked into the MadCap way of doing things.
That's a really important strategic point for any organization considering it. Losing the intelligence layer, not just the words. Okay, let's take a brief break for a special message from our producer, Kurt Robbins.
Hi, this is Kurt Robbins. First, thanks for listening. I truly appreciate your support. I want to let you know that I'm currently accepting new clients. My rates are affordable, and I have more than 25 years of experience working for enterprise companies like Microsoft, Northrop Grumman, Oracle, PNC Bank, FedEx, USAA, and Wells Fargo, among many others. If you want to improve your IT documentation and communications, hire me. I deliver fast, know how to use AI to improve efficiency and accuracy, and love going the extra mile to satisfy my clients. Thank you for subscribing and listening. Back to you, Daphne and Fred.
Welcome back to the Technical Writing Success Podcast.
Okay, so before the break, we talked about Flare's power, the single sourcing, the control, but also the significant hurdles: cost, complexity, platform limits, and that potential for vendor lock-in.
Right. So the big question is, who is this actually for? The review suggests it really shines in specific situations.
Yeah, it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all tool. It really depends on the scale and complexity of your documentation needs. Think big software companies, financial institutions, manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, organizations with huge volumes of content, maybe multiple product lines, content that needs translating into many languages, strict regulatory requirements.
For them, the efficiency gains and the control Flare offers can easily justify the investment. At that scale, the cost of inconsistency or inefficiency in documentation can be enormous. Flare helps manage that complexity. The integration with Central for analytics and Lingo for translation becomes really valuable too.
Okay, so enterprise makes sense. What about smaller companies?
It's more nuanced there. If you're a small company but your product is very complex, say, sophisticated software, medical devices, scientific instruments, and you need really professional, feature-rich online health or manuals,
Flare could let a small team produce documentation that looks like it came from a much larger company.
Precisely. It can help you punch above your weight, presentation-wise. The templates, the publishing engine, they let a small team create very polished outputs.
Well, maybe the product's complexity really warrants that level of documentation sophistication.
Right. If your product is simpler, or you only need basic guides, then Flare is probably overkill. The cost and the learning curve would likely outweigh the benefits. You'd be better off with a simpler, cheaper tool.
Makes sense. Now, what about individual consultants or freelancers? That's a big part of our audience. We've already said the cost is a major hurdle.
It is definitely. Paying that subscription out of your own pocket is, well, it's a serious business expense.
But here's the interesting counterpoint the review touches on: market demand.
Yeah. Expertise in MadCap Flare is actually a highly marketable skill.
Why is that?
Well, think about who uses Flare the most, those large enterprise companies. They often need contractors, specifically people who already know Flare inside and out, who can jump right into their complex projects.
I see. So even though the license is expensive for an individual?
Investing in that license, and more importantly, investing the time to truly master Flare, can open doors to high-paying, specialized contract work that you simply wouldn't get otherwise.
It's like buying the key to work on those big, complex enterprise projects.
In a way, yes. It's an investment in accessing a specific segment of the job market.
So let's try to wrap this up. What's the final takeaway for someone considering Flare?
I think the core message is pretty clear. Flare offers really unparalleled control and scalability for complex documentation needs. It's the industry standard for a reason in many large organizations. And it's a big but, you absolutely have to weigh that power against the significant upfront and ongoing cost, the steep learning curve, and the commitment you're making to its proprietary ecosystem. It's a strategic decision, not just a software purchase.
That sums it up perfectly. And it's interesting, thinking about the source article's author, Kurt Robbins. His background includes work with huge companies like FedEx, Microsoft, Wells Fargo.
Right, places that operate at that enterprise scale we've been talking about.
Exactly. And it reinforces the idea that mastering these complex, powerful tools, even if they seem daunting or expensive initially, is often the pathway, maybe even the requirement, to working on those really high-level, large-scale documentation projects. It shapes the kind of work you could access.
It definitely dictates the environment for a lot of top-tier tech writing jobs. A very insightful point. Thank you for listening to the Technical Writing Success Podcast, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you next week.